On August 11th, 2023, a remarkable thing happened in Russia. This date, August 11th of this year, was supposed to be a bright page in Russia's history of space exploration, well, in country's history in general. Really, Russia launched its first moon mission in about 50 years. Luna 25 was supposed to fly to the moon, land there, and work doing scientific research for space research for about a year. A moon mission, gosh, sounds sexy, sounds big, sounds grandiose. But if we take a closer look, there are many questions arise. And the biggest question is, why would Putin send a moon mission during the war with Ukraine? Was Luna 25 supposed to be a triumph of Russian people? First on the moon, perhaps? Not really. Was it supposed to be a personal triumph of Vladimir Putin? He has so many personal problems right now and threats that I don't think he cares that much. Was it supposed to be a triumph of Ruski Mir, Russian world? Certainly not. About 54 years ago, Americans beat the Russians to the moon by successfully landing and doing the moonwalk. So, certainly not. Was Luna 25 supposed to be breakthrough in national scientific research, space research? Not even close. Why in the world would the Russian space agency Roscosmos send a moon mission with its astronomical cost at this time? And there is actually a reason. And now let's find out what the reason was and why this moon mission Luna 25 actually closed the era of Russia's space exploration and why it was bound to fail. Closed. Howdy everyone, my name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. What you will not find on this channel is BS, lies, and propaganda, but what you will find on this channel is truth, common sense, and logic, and some emotions, because I'm a human being. And today you'll find plenty of space race and moon exploration information. And also you'll, I think, find how thirst for power of one man can destroy the best space exploration program humanity has ever seen. Without further ado, let's just jump right onto the moon. Russia's troubled space agency called Roscosmos announced the new moon mission kind of out of the blue not too long ago. Russia will launch Luna 25 spacecraft, lunar craft, soon. And it actually did launch, and it was covered all over the country in the news. And propaganda was irate about that. The victory. We are back to space. We're great again. And how we're back? With a bang. The new moon mission. Oh, how great is that? And the rocket that actually launched, took off from Earth, it actually did not explode at launch, as they often did recently in the recent years. And that's a victory in itself. Yahoo! Well, why Luna 25? Why 25? Doesn't sound strange to you? Oh, it's very simple. What happened on August 11th of 2023 was an attempt number 25 of Russian moon program. Let's take a few steps back, and I'll tell you a little history of moon exploration in the USSR. Russian moon program was established on August 3rd, 1964, 59 years ago. It happened at the time when humanity was taking first steps in space. That was a magnificent time full of hopes, and the USSR was number one until at least the Americans landed on the moon. And after that, there was a period of fierce competition between the Americans and the Russians in space, and the competition resulted in magnificent achievements, technological achievements on both sides in both countries, and it resulted in the joint launch of the International Space Station in the 90s. And I remember it was a triumph. It was a triumph of peace, of logic, of common sense, of goodness. Finally, we weren't competing against each other, but we actually did something together, and it was magnificent. The International Space Station. Well, back into the Soviet moon program. It lasted until 22nd of May of 1974 for roughly 10 years. And then that's when the Soviet moon exploration program was officially abandoned. You can call it was closed. They were successful launches, successful projects, successful researches. Just remember Lunokhod, in general, the program failed, and it consumed so much resources, and it gave way by when they closed the system, this program. They actually allocated the resources to another space exploration project, program called Space Shuttle Buran. And in the late 80s, as we know, it flew to space and returned. It was a success. So this moon program lasted about 10 years, cost the country hundreds of billions of dollars, well, in rubles, of course. I'm taking equivalents of rubles. And hundreds of thousands of people worked for this program for 10 years. I don't even know how many billions of man hours were spent. At the end, it was scrapped, closed, and forgotten. Well, fast forward to 2022. Now, in last year, in 2022, Russia's space agency was in quite different shape from the old days of the USSR. See, in Soviet Union, space exploration was cutting edge, was the priority, was the prestige of the country, and it was, I think that was the most important thing, the advancements in military technologies. The government did not count money, did not even ask questions when it was allocated money and resources to the space exploration. It just needed the results, and the results were given. Everything changed in 1991 when the USSR fell apart and the priorities changed. Military advancements were not needed desperately anymore. Roscosmos was formed. There was a company that consolidated all enterprises, hundreds of enterprises of former USSR. It was basically a corporation, government-owned corporation. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, I could be telling for hours. All you need to know is that people who headed Roscosmos over the years, for 30 years, they basically were stealing money. Thieves. The government kept on financing the space program, and the funds were mostly all stolen. In 30 years, Russia lost all space advancements it had made prior to 1991. Plain and simple. In 2022, Russia did not have capabilities to continue space exploration. It barely launched commercial satellites, and it had a very low successful launch rate. Okay, it was basically destroyed. What were the faces and names behind this demise, this fascinating demise? The man who was the head the last head of the last CEO of Roscosmos from 2018 to 2022, and arguably he did the most damage to Roscosmos. His name is Dmitry Rogozin. Appointed by Putin personally. It was all Roscosmos CEOs appointed by Putin. Basically, he was a buddy of Putin. Rogozin was born in 1963. He's close to 60. A Soviet communist. He was a reporter by trade. He graduated from Moscow State University, I believe, with a degree in journalism. Then he got his master's degree in philosophy, and his thesis was the Russian world and its impact on national and international security. He's definitely not an engineer or had nothing to do with space. He became a buddy of Putin in the 90s, and he made pretty good career in Russia. He had high government positions, including he was a representative of Russia in NATO, yes, for quite some time. And he was the government supervisor of military-industrial complex. And then he was the CEO of Roscosmos. To give you a little personal touch, I have a personal story with this guy. For most of my adult life, I had been in business of building power plants. Gas-fired and coal-fired, large and small power plants that generated electricity and heat. And, during the course of my work, I met tons of people. I did business development for the big corporation. So my networking includes hundreds and hundreds of people of different kind of, business levels. So I met one of this power brokers type of lady, very, very, very powerful, very knowledgeable, very connected. And we were developing one of the projects. We wanted to build a power plant together. She was looking for financing for a customer, and we were providing construction capabilities. And I was meeting, we had a meeting scheduled one day. It was around 2018, 2019, something like that. And she called me up and she said, look, I apologize, but I have to call the meeting off. I have to postpone it until tomorrow, whatever time you have available. I just learned that Dmitry Rogozin is going to be at this place, and I desperately need to meet him and talk to him. So there are people who will, arrange the meeting, but I have to catch him at this place. He's going to be attending some kind of a fair, something like that. Said, what do you have to do with Rogozin? Why do you need Rogozin? She said, we're doing construction project of a large water park in one of the Middle Eastern countries. I think it was Bahrain or Kuwait or something like that. And she could, hear my mute question, like, Rogozin and water parks? And she said, well, don't you know that Roscosmos is the biggest supplier of water park equipment and, slides, stuff like that. I said, what? Are you joking? She's like, no, it's absolutely serious. That's what they do now these days. They don't send rockets to space. They do the water parks and they do some other stuff like that. So she ended up meeting Rogozin on that day. I don't know if they worked out a deal or not, but just to give you an idea what Roscosmos has been doing lately, okay? So, water parks, yeah. Wow. You might remember the tweets exchange between Elon Musk and Dmitry Rogozin. I think that's all he's remembered by, okay? Because he tried to pick on Musk, and Musk was putting him down real hard every time that Musk would send a rocket into space, and he would just put Rogozin down on Twitter publicly. But that was the kind of man in charge of Roscosmos. Needless to say, he finished off Roscosmos. He destroyed it completely. In the beginning of 2022, Russia's space agency was a sad sight. Basically just a name with no new technology, a few outdated manufacturing facilities, and pretty dark, gloomy future. Roscosmos lost competition to NASA and new folks like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson. They all have effective, privately owned space travel companies these days, and that is the future. And Roscosmos is definitely the past. And Putin finally got tired of Rogozin and fired him. That happened last year. And Putin doesn't fire friends often. You know, that's the kind of punishment of last resort. And this time, he did. He appointed the new head of Roscosmos. His name is Yuri Borisov. All you need to know about this guy, that for some time he was the Deputy Minister of Defense of Russian Federation. I think you understand where he's coming from, what kind of background he's coming from. He is definitely not a newsmaker. He's a very quiet guy, as most of people with his background, you know. Once appointed a year ago, I can't remember one single news came out of Roscosmos, the space agency. And an interesting detail, on April 12th of 2022 last year, soon after Russia invaded Ukraine, started waging war on the Ukrainians, Putin made a speech announcing Russia was starting a new moon program. I made a stream about that in mid-April, and basically I was laughing about that. And now, 1 year later, out of the blue, Luna 25 is launched. Luna 25 is actually an old project. It's not new. In 1997, Roscosmos, together with the European Space Agency, were going to launch Luna 25, but they discarded the project as non-important. So for some years they developed it, but it was a long time ago. A lack of priority, lack of financing. Basically, that's what killed off that project. And Russians somehow come up with this. No one says that it's an old project. Okay, the propaganda sells it to the Russian public as the new project. Okay, Luna 25. Right from the start. Right from the launch, when I heard it, I understood and I believed it would be a disaster. And it's not about me. You know, I'm not the brightest one in the bunch. I'm not a prophet, okay? But you literally don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand something is very, very fishy about this project. And this is why. This is how you start Moon Project. Moon exploring project is huge. The government makes a decision and it makes it public. Because a moon project costs an arm and a leg. It literally costs hundreds of billions of dollars. Moon mission is not for the weak economy and not for the Russian ruble. Not something you do when you send these missions when you have hundreds of thousands of engineers, and IT specialists flee the country. Not something to do when you're waging a war. And you see, it's the taxpayers' money. People must know and they must approve. Let's say they approve. Let's say, okay, we generally agree. We need to go to the moon. Then you have a plan. But the plan is very long term. It probably is for 20, 30, perhaps even 40 years. You break that plan into small pieces and start taking actions. You start small and you work your way up. You need trillions and trillions of things to accomplish, to get to the moon and stay there successfully. It takes decades and united work of hundreds of thousands of people. And now imagine this. Out of the blue, they announce Russia is going to the moon, Luna 25, and they launch this Luna 25 mission. They launched Soyuz 2.1B model. That's a launch vehicle that carries upper atmosphere boost module called Fregat, and it carries Luna 25 automatic interplanetary system, as they call it, station vehicle. Moon stuff for the first time in 50 years. You don't do that. You don't rush things like that. If you do rush, if you don't prepare, if you don't do your homework, you are bound to fail. And this is why I knew that they was going to fail. Luna 25 was going to fail right from the start. It would not be a successful mission. It was absolutely clear. Again, it's not the rocket science. It's like putting two and two together. Oh gosh, building a power plant is much less complicated thing than sending a moon mission. But building a power plant, takes very good project managers to do that. Long time, lots of planning, lots of design work, lots of construction work and so forth. And sending craft to the moon is much more complicated, and they want to do it just like that. So anyway, I'll give you an analogy. I hope you understand better. Suppose there's a middle-aged man with a sizable beer gut and a complete lack of physical shape. The man hasn't exercised for 20 years. He's like 45, and he starts working out. And from 0 he goes to 100. He starts working out real hard, And in 6 months, he signs up for the World Championship in bodybuilding. The result, even if he is allowed to compete against career bodybuilders who exercise for like decades and prepare themselves, they they compete in numerous competitions, take participation of numerous competitions, condition themselves, and finally they go to the highest, world championship, the highest competition. Then imagine this guy, after working out after 6 months, after doing nothing for, 20 years and drinking beer, that's going to be a crushing defeat. Again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist for that. And that's pretty much what they tried to do with the moon mission. They did not work out for decades, but they started doing some kind of moves, and boom, off we go. Luna 25 is rushing to the moon. This is exactly what happened. 6 days. Well, the launch of Luna 25 in itself was a victory, I think, because Roscosmos is in such rough shape that by sending the vehicle, the rocket, Soyuz rocket, into space and actually doesn't blow up is a victory already. So I think in my eyes, mission was like successful. But that was, tiny part. But 6 days after the launch of Luna 25, the station actually took a picture of moon surface, and it was shown all over the news in Russia, and with a huge pride. Look, we're taking pictures of the moon. I was thinking, sitting there and thinking, like, is something wrong here in this picture? Is this just me? Any photographer sitting on Earth surface with a good modern Canon camera and a super zoom telescopic lens can take amazing pictures of moon's surface, okay? You don't have to send Luna 25, any station, to space to start taking pictures. But I actually think that that picture was not a breakthrough or anything. It was just a picture of moon surface. It was a regular photo, and again, anyone with a telescope or a good camera here on Earth could make that. I personally, now, I'm stepping on a shaking ground, but I personally think that picture was a fake. I think it was not made by Luna 25, but by someone else at different time at some different place. But I cannot prove it, and this is just my opinion, so this is a disclaimer. My personal opinion, and I'll keep it at just like that. Then, on the picture was taken on the 17th, and on the 20th of August, I was proven right. Roscosmos announced an emergency situation happened. Was kind of expected, Then, on the same day, they said that radio communication lost, because an emergency situation happened, that's like nothing. Just knowing that something's going wrong, but, they don't say anything by saying that. But the radio communication lost, that is more details, okay? And then later on that day, on the 20th, they announced that Luna 25 station crashed into the moon. I think the whole thing was intended to be fake, except for the launch. Again, this is my personal opinion. Please don't throw rocks into me. This is what I think. I'm entitled to have my own opinion. At least I think so. You cannot fake launch, because launch is televised. Pictures are taken and so forth. Big spaceship. What they could have done by launching this mission, not only they could have, they actually, that's what they did. They took the old station, perhaps unfinished, from 1997, old mooncraft, and sent it to the moon. And I doubt that they intended or expected for that mission to be successful. According to official Roscosmos, the head and the officials, Luna 25 mission cost 12.6 billion rubles. And that is in the time when Russian economy is crashing, inflation is high, a lot of retired people who live in poverty start feeling, real hard situation with buying food because prices are going up. And Russian government spending 12.6 billion rubles to send something to the moon. Why? At the end of the stream, I'm gonna tell you why now. This is the end. I think this is why it happened. Russian propaganda has proved right my suspicions, in my opinion, of this mission being fake from the start. Russian propaganda from 3 days ago, when Luna 25 crashed into the moon, they've been pushing 3 main messages. And those messages, they're all over Russian propaganda news. First, they did not say what happened, but they've been saying how it happened everywhere. The velocity of the impact was such and such. They never say it's a crash. They say it's hard landing. The impact, uncontrolled speed. They don't say just crashed into the moon. No. They trying to soften everything up, So they given a lot of articles on what velocity the collision happened at, what motor stopped functioning and that led to this catastrophic event, at what angle the station landed onto the moon's surface roughly, what happened, inside of the station and so forth. So they're just picking small details. And they're trying to keep people's attention away from the big question. And the big question in my mind is, why do we need this mission now especially if the chances of it being successful are so low? Why do we need moon exploration in Russia right now? Don't we have so many problems that we need to take care of first? The second message, very powerful, very strong, and very direct. Those who dare criticize this mission, those who dare to, say, oh, we told you so, we shouldn't have done it, and so forth. Those who are saying this mission was not needed, they are the enemies of Russia. And by saying things against this mission, by making jokes of Roscosmos, by making jokes of Russian government, by being sarcastic, they show themselves true colors. They're true colors. They're enemies of Russia. The patriots must shut up and patiently keep silent. I've heard this message quite a few times at different media outlets controlled by the government. And the third message is the most important one, and I think this message why this whole thing happened. The message is this: Russian space program is alive. They tried to raise, Russia above dirt that is in right now, above the war, above the economic collapse, above so many people living in poverty, above prices going skyrocketing, going high. They try to elevate like the country, the government, the people above that. They try to elevate above the exodus of Russians from Russia. And they want to give the Russians the feeling of some kind of a feeling of magnificence that they had in the past when the USSR had the victories in the space race, in the space exploration, shouldn't say space race, but simple space exploration, and in the sports events, okay? They want to give something bright, something joyful to the Russians. They want to give them something idealistically shiny, far above. So the Russians look for the first time up there, and they don't look around them, okay? They want to give the Russians something that is really difficult to understand, but fulfilling, giving them at least some feeling of pride, feeling that not everything in Russia is lost. There's actually something. And I think they have succeeded in that, at least somewhat succeeded. If I take one Russian person one at a time and start talking face to face, and I start explaining, that Russia does not need moon program right now. Russia needs different things. For example, rule of people, independent courts, new constitution. Russia needs new president every 4 years. Things like that. And I will explain that by having those things in place, a new country will be born, and that country will be so magnificent, so rich, so effective, so peaceful that, things like victories in new space programs will appear, okay? And if I start explaining it to the Russians, they most likely would understand. They would, understand what I talk about. But unfortunately, they aren't listening to those who are trying to explain them currently in Russia, due to different reasons, due to lack of education, due to lack of experience, due to drinking too much vodka, So this new moon mission, Luna 25, might have some propaganda effect on regular people, despite the fact that the mission itself is a fail. So to those, and this mission is definitely for the Russians who live inside Russia, because to them it might it might seem like a symbol of something good that Russia still hasn't lost, because everything else is pretty much lost around them. And the people start feeling right now, they start feeling the prices devaluing ruble. They start feeling, the drones attacking Russian cities. And that starts bringing Russians down. That's why they sent this moon mission out of the blue very quickly without any preparation, to lift the spirits of Russian people up, at least to try, okay? But that's just for the people inside Russia, because everyone who's outside Russia understands real well what really is going on, what situation is in the Roscosmos, what state Russian space exploration is, and so forth. Everyone else who's not in Russia, all foreigners, to them, Russia continues to be nothing but a large gas station. Folks, thank you so much for coming, listening, watching, giving me a chance. It's an honor to have you here. I would like to invite everyone to carry on to live stream chat, which I'm about to turn right now. Please give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your opinion about Luna 25 is. Do you agree with me or not? Perhaps you know of other reasons why Russians, Roscosmos, with Putin's approval, send this moon station to the moon. Anyway, I would love to hear your opinion. Thank you so much. And while I am turning live stream chat on, I'd like to ask you to help me spread my message by making reposts of it in your social media accounts. That actually helps a lot. Thank you. Also, you can consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel so you will not miss any further updates. And if you would like to buy me a cup of tea that is called Twinings English Breakfast or Earl Grey or Darjeeling, you can do that on buymeacoffee.com. I know, strange to buy a tea and a coffee, but I drink coffee too. So if you decide to do that, I wouldn't mind. Thank you so very much. And the live stream chat is on. Thank you. If you're here for the first time, I'd like to tell you that this chat has the best moderation team in the world. So please, please, please make the lives of mods easier. We have Lorna and Mammy and Bob S., Harry Podnan, and Prince Amir Fazad. It's fantastic to see you guys and girls. And if you want me to see and read your message easier, then please put it in caps and put Inside Russia after that sign so it appears highlighted in an orange box. I see it. Thank you so much. Just like that was the first highlighted message from Baker Stock. Thank you so much. Just like Baker Stock did. John Knox from Leeds, Yorkshire. Howdy, howdy. The usual suspects. Fantastic to see you. I see you every day, and this is the high of my day by knowing that so many people are on the other side of the camera watching, sending prayers, words of encouragement, agree, sometimes disagree. That is perfectly fine, okay? And communicate. So thank you. This is amazing. RW. Fantastic to see you. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for other things too, and thanks for being this part of this community. Inspired by you, I am proud owner of 4 volumes set of... Oh my gosh, you actually did it. Chair Talks, Rockets and People. Read, read, read. This is the best book on space exploration I think ever written. This is it. Ironic that India may beat out Russia by landing tomorrow. It's very sarcastic. It's very ironic. I mean, it's great. I mean, I feel good about Indians doing that, but it's really a shame. I think that Chertok, Korolev, Keldysh, all those great people who built the Soviet space exploration, the pioneers, I think they're just turning around in their graves when they're looking at people who came after. They stole everything. They say that, Russia has so many enemies, and the enemies want to destroy Russia, and the enemies want Russia to be broken apart in different. Russia does not have enemies except for the Russians themselves. The only people who can destroy Russia are the Russians, and we've been seeing that in the making for the past 30 years. Just look at Roscosmos. It was... Anyway, RW, please come back. Come back every time, every day. But after you're done reading the rockets and the people, please come back and let us know what you think. Okay? Because I find this book one of the most interesting in my life that I've read. Thank you so much for coming. And again, thank you for supporting. Vahe Kaliskin, hello. Sam K, thank you so much, doing well, strong. Mikhail HG, Viktor Pelevin's 92 Amon-Ra might be the best of Russian space exploration for many decades. Well, first of all, it's surprising that you actually have heard of that book. Yes, I have read Amon-Ra. That's quite the book. I like it. And it's hard to disagree with you, Wayne Gwynn, the Luna 25 mission was a giant propaganda show. Well, basically, you are agreeing what I've just said in the stream. Perhaps I speak too much, or perhaps I speak very complicated, in a complicated way, but if you don't understand me, please forgive me. But this is exactly what I tried to say, that it's a big propaganda show aimed at Russians, not at the Westerners. Prince Amir Fazad, thank you so much for your suggestion. You sure Dmitry Peskov wasn't special mission commander on Luna 25? Could have been window. That's a good one. Amir, this is a brilliant one. He had a window of opportunity and he used it. Yeah, that guy's been missing and no one knows. Well, there are rumors he's in Dubai, but what is he doing in Dubai? Has he fled? Has he been sent out of Russia? Is he really in Dubai right now? Like, we shall see. Amir, thank you. Fantastic comment. From Finland with love. Thank you, friend. And I absolutely love your name. Sending love from Tashkent to Finland. So you're basically saying it was a special moon operation? Yep. And everything was going according to the plan. Yep. The plan was a little faulty, but you could say that, everything was going according to the plan. I think everyone was keeping fingers crossed for the rocket not to explode at the launch. And once it went up, everyone was like, we did it. We did it. That's it. That's it. Now we have tons of pictures of the moon. We just need to pick one from a hard drive and send it to the news agencies and stuff like that, I think this is how it was happening. Charlie B from sunny Pacific Beach, California. Howdy. And Keith from Hawaii. Hello. I hope you are okay in Hawaii. Hope you weren't touched by this terrible nightmare. Matt Blazer 89, thank you, from Romania. Wonder what your thoughts are regarding Putin's weird voice at BRICS summit, that he forgot on which hand he wears his watch. Also, do Russians see Putin's absence as a blow to Russia's image? Matt Blazer, thank you. Good questions. Good questions. And I'm gonna just give me a second. First of all, I'm gonna take a sip of this wonderful tea, and boy, do I love tea or what. This is good stuff. Now, there are two questions, and they're very good ones, very important ones. The first is, what are my thoughts regarding Putin's weird voice at BRICS? I just heard it minutes before I started the stream. Because, I usually take a few hours and prepare for the streams. I research, I write, I do outlines, I think about it. So Natasha showed me just minutes before the stream. And all I gotta say is like, what the fudge? This is major. This is not your typical Russian speech on Russian television. He speaks in front of Chinese president, Indian president, who else is at BRICS? Brazilian president, all these big guys, big boys, they're supposed to be the backers of Russia. They're supposed to be the partners. And then he comes out and speaks in not his voice. I think all the presidents were like, what the fudge? And that's not fudge, what I meant, if you know what I mean. This is a shame for Russia. This is an insult to them. Okay, this is very odd. This is the event of the highest level. Why would you do something like that? Why would you have a voiceover of your voice? Like, what? Your voice is so weak they can pick something. I mean, this is insane. I don't know what to think about it. Really, I know it's really bad. It's embarrassing, and it's gonna bring up lots of questions from everyone, not just from the Russians. So thank you. And the second question is, also, do Russians see Putin's absence as a blow to Russia's image? There are two different kinds of Russians. The first kind is those Russians who think, analyze, use critical thinking. The second type of Russians who drink. Okay, unfortunately, the majority is the second type. For the second type, they don't care. It doesn't sink in. They don't understand what really is going on. The first type, myself, perhaps I'm overreaching a little bit, but I consider myself the first type, the Russians who think. But I think this is a huge blow to Russia's image. A huge blow, okay? At the BRICS, where you're supposed to be spotless, where everything must go as planned, because your life depends on that, your economy depends on that. Okay? Putin cannot attend not because his health, not because of something, but because South Africans told him directly, saying, do not come. If you come, we will arrest you, send it to Hague. This is a huge blow, okay? In Russia, they're not saying it. Propaganda is silent, of course. That's the propaganda's best offense, If something atrocious happens, they're just silent. They don't talk about it. And the Russian people, they keep on drinking. But yes, I'm sorry, it's taken me such a long time to answer, but this is a huge blow to Russia's image. This is fudged up. RW, thank you so much for gifting 5 people the sponsorship. Thank you so much. So folks, let me, I haven't seen many comments, but what do you think of the message? Did you find it interesting? Do you agree with what I said, or you saying, Konstantin, you're crazy, everything went according to the plan, everything is fine. Roscosmos is woohoo, power, Sila. Do you think a space water slide would work? Well, just there. I think they might try it on the moon, Liz Dumbrell, that's a good feedback. Which parts did you find um, funny. Because I wasn't putting too much sarcasm into this thing, you know. Space plane went bang bang. Yeah, the space station, the moon station, Lunar 25, landed a little roughly, you know, but landed. Boom, bang bang. uh, totally agree, says Eugene Lindsay. Let's put it on Lunar 26. That's funny. Agree. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You've got ton of money, so just retire, Tom W. Yeah, I think he made a huge mistake. He's not gonna retire. Dear Knobs, I love talking about space. Roscosmos has for years been Soyuz leaking, crew launch. It's embarrassing. Yeah, things happen in space, you know, but the way things have been happening in the last 15 years, you nailed it. It's embarrassing. Thank you. Thank God it was an unmanned mooncraft. We don't know that. I mean, where is Peskov? Where is Peskov? You tell me first. Jonathan Clark, thank you so much. Where is Peskov? Tikhomir Volich. Well, that's exactly what I made community post some time ago, like a couple hours ago. Go check it out. We haven't seen him. He might as well be on Luna 25 doing bang bang landing. Carol Lynn from League City, Texas. Howdy. Marsha Tucker. Yeah, makes two of us. I had a hard time believing that too, but I figured that they were doing it for a reason. Dive Crew Canada. Howdy, howdy. By the way, I'm also a diver. So PADI certified, advanced water, AO, advanced like up to 40 meters. Dear noobs, I suggest the book Ignition for the great perspective on rocket history from America point of view. Russia has plenty of proud history. Today, not so much. Thank you so much. Taken into consideration, Ignition. I will check it out. The only problem is time. Not too much time. Elsha, thank you so much. Fantastic to see you again today. Guy L, Russia owes Kazakhstan 30 million in rent for those Space Dome Center. Bailiff went in 3 days ago. What's a bailiff? Yes, I know. And the Buran, that project is still there, just sitting, being, deteriorating. It's just, it's really hard. Like, where did we take the wrong turn? It seems like everything is in Russia right now is going like through a wrong place. Tom W says, ladies, it looks like you and Bob S today. Yes, there are 3 mods. Amir shows up from time to time. He's busy at work, and then Harry is also busy doing his own things. And Blackhead He's not moderating anymore. He did such a fantastic job. I'd like to thank him again. Thank you, Black Cat, if you're listening. Thank you so much. Please come back and say hello anytime. EW 1974, I think they really want to reach the moon's south pole, as it's expected to have water enclosed in the stones there, but preparation was poor. Only 1/4 of lunar missions were successful. It's questionable. I can understand, the United States, NASA recently launched a space project called Space Telescope Webb. And this is just a brilliant mission, and it gives so much of a breakthrough in terms of space exploration. It's needed. It's fantastic. It's technological marvel. But okay, they reach, let's say they reach the moon and then reach the South Pole. And they find water enclosed in the stones there. And then what? I don't understand. Carson Larrymore, thank you so much. Is there actual evidence that the space module crashed? Or is it floating in space next to Elon Musk's car? And this is a fantastic question. I doubt it's actually crashed, because to crash, you need to deliver it to the moon. Do they have the capabilities? They did in the past. I mean, there's no question about that. The Soviets did have the decent lunar program. But can they do it now? That's why I'm thinking it's fake. They did send it into the space, all right, I believe in that. But after that, it's only their words. I wish Americans could prove, saying, hey, we saw the trajectory, we saw something flying, we saw something exploding in the moon. So far, I have not heard any evidence, okay? I will believe it when I hear and see the evidence. That's plain and simple. Thank you, Carlson, and thank you for the super chat. And Timothy Robinson, thank you very much. Great to have you back. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much for your support. It's my pleasure. You can definitely count on me coming back here every single day. Thank you so much. Jason Thomas, maybe Putin has been assassinated. You definitely can expect me to dig deeper into this voice thing. This is extremely odd. Extremely odd. I don't know what to say right now. We'll see. Cuban James, thank you so much for... I hope that I'm the first type. I hope. I try to think. I try to use common sense, KG1, was it deliberately sabotaged to divert funding of future space missions to war? I don't think so. Because one person decides what missions to create in the future, what to finance. The space, the war, the education, the medicine. I mean, who sabotages? Someone who wants the current head of Roscosmos get fired? It's a very long shot. I have hard time believing it. I thought about it, but it's not my favorite theory. Jeffrey S. Howdy, Jeffrey. Miss Natasha was very happy and giving you lots of attention during Saturday's stream. They were rumors that you were strutting around like a rooster all day Sunday. Folks, Jeffrey S. is a fantastic guy. He's very funny. Incredibly, his sense of humor is fantastic. Listen to him on anything but his dating advice. James Varela, thank you so much. Buran's 2002 hangar disaster is suspect. Could communists have destroyed it because they were afraid of automated AI technology to workers? I think it's a joke, right? I don't know what to say. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Must have been. All right. Let's take a couple more questions and pray. Keith from Hawaii, one question, extremely interesting, it's extremely important, and it's actually fascinating. The question says, I heard that the man is in charge of the mission became suddenly ill. Well, he didn't become suddenly ill. He got admitted to a hospital with a heart problem, like near stroke condition. He stressed out a lot. There are two possible scenarios. One is it's been all over Russian news. It's like they're pushing this news. Oh, you see, this guy suffers so much, then he got into the hospital. He's nearly getting a stroke. Could be a show, okay, saying that as a real deal, kind of prove it, the real deal. Or it could be just an old guy who was a part of that old moon project. It was like his baby, probably. And then all of a sudden, he had another shot after 3 decades of just being somewhere in the low somewhere. And they, suddenly, called him up and placed him in charge, or perhaps tried to make it a scapegoat, I don't know. And his project was not prepared. It was not finished. They sent it anyway. And of course, it's like the destruction of his dreams. It could be this, okay? John Knox, I can't say how I'd think if I were Russian, but as a Brit, I would be furious if my country was sending rockets to slam into the moon if we were in the middle of a war. Russians are not furious. John, if I was a Russian, I would be furious too. Well, I am furious. I am Russian. And I'm making stream about that. And I'm trying to tell everyone, look, this mother of God, bad people, they are, look what they're doing. But I am in the minority, and very small minority, because everyone is just chilling, sipping their vodka. That's the difference between me and them. I'm drinking English tea, and they're drinking Russian vodka. Stuff makes you smart. Okay, folks, thank you so much. Keith from Hawaii, I thought it was Betty. It could have been, but again, it's a long shot. I think it's just it was either a show, he admitted him to his hospital just for a show, or he really felt bad. He old guy, and then boom, he had a stroke or near stroke condition or something. All right, folks. I'm gonna be wrapping up with the stream. Thank you so very much for coming. My honor that you have come and gave me a chance. We have a fantastic bunch of people today, the community. Thank you so much, and please let's finish the stream by praying. Pray along with me if you're religious. If you are not, still pray, but you can call it differently. Sending good wishes to people, sending good vibes, good energy, doesn't matter. It's the same thing, Let's do it. Thank you so much. Before I start praying, I'd like to tell you that a little different approach I'm taking to the list of people. The names have stayed here for a very long time. Some names are for about a year. I am changing the system. I'm only going to be including the fresh names, the new names, and I'm gonna be keeping them around 2 weeks, and then starting over fresh to get the names of new people who want to be prayed for. So the prayers, personal prayers, will be faster and for fewer people, because I'm not praying for those who've been here without presence in the community for a long time. So this is it. So thank you so much again. Thank you, and let's do it. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables and giving us roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful, and give us wisdom to raise our children the way that when they grow up, they will make this world a better place and they will do a better job running this world than we have done. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of people who are responsible. Use any means necessary for them to wake up, fill their hearts with love, mercy, forgiveness, kick them in the butt, do anything to wake them up so they open their eyes and realize what tragedies has happened, and they will make a decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help the Ukrainians who have suffered from this terrible tragedy. Please send them recovery, soothe their souls, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Please send them angels, so the angels keep the people away out of the harm's way. Dear Lord, please help my country, Russia, assemble the strongest angels with sharpest swords into a heavenly army led by Saint Michael, and send it like an avalanche to earth to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Dear Lord, we have been waiting for the angels to come for a long time. Please send them to us soon. Have angels run Russia. Have angels make it peaceful, respected, respectful, loving, and loved. Please send help to everyone who is traveling right now. Send them safe travels. Help everyone who is asking for asylum. Help all people who are suffering from Russian strikes in Ukraine. Please help all the mothers, single mothers, raising their children and struggling, making ends meet. Dear Lord, please all sick, hungry, jobless, homeless, depressed, addicted, the ones struggling with their faith, not feeling well about themselves, please shine your heavenly light upon those people, surround them with your warmth, so they will feel better about themselves, they will find hope again, they will find love, and they will feel your love again. They will get up on from their knees, on their feet, and they will have a chance to have better and healthy and happy lives. Please give us the peaceful skies, no matter who we are and where we live. We really need it, all of us. That's one thing that all of us need. Thank you so very much for bringing us into this community. Thank you for allowing us to pray together. Please help everyone who is praying along with me or simply watching us pray. Answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Thank you so much, dear Lord. I would like to mention a few names. These people need your help. They are Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Bonnie, Svetlana, Michael Milkevitz, Paul Binz, Richard Burris, Rafaela Fromm, Allison Dave Moyers, Brittany S., Lisa Kumrian, Mr. Dean Spooner, his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, EMS paramedic Liz, Karen from Maine, Lori Miles' husband, Susie Mailer, Frank in Texas, Max family, Linda Trombley, Eugene and Lindsay's daughter, James Gantz, China Bill, Julia Haney, Gloria Roberts and her brother, Hannah, Jim and Shirley Hall, Liz Dumbrell and her family, grandparents, Susan, Darla, Beep, White Lightning, George Ruberty, Dave Strains, Jason Conner, Jenny Stevenson, Jay Spike, Patty L, Amir's Uncle Dicky, Shirley and Debbie, Stefan from Sweden, David Porter, his family, and everyone in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Susan Marshall, Teresa D, Alvin's sister, John Lee McMahon, Terry Carter, Meta Spencer, Pamela J, Joel Live, Karin Vasseur. And I would like to ask for a special child who is struggling and needs your help. A little girl called, her name is Sarah. Please send her angels, send her recovery, send her strength. Do not leave her. Do not leave her parents, and please answer the parents who have been praying to you day and night. Also, dear Lord, please help all the children from Ukraine who have been affected by this terrible tragedy, and all children from Russia who have been affected. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you for everything. Amen. My friends, thank you very much for coming. It's been a good stream today. My honor to have you on my channel. Thank you again. This is the high of my day to have you all here. I come here, and once I'm done with the message, I turn on the live stream, and it's just fantastic pleasure to do that. Thank you. Before I go, I would like to ask you to do something I ask you to do every single time before I sign off. That is to say, along with me, out loud as you can, Carthago delenda est.